This
Here we
conference will now be recorded.
go. Cool. So, um, you're you're where? You're in Kansas City, right? Or
No, sir. Chi-Town, Chicago.
oh, you're in. Oh, okay. I don't know why I thought I
Yes,
had
sir.
you in Kansas City. So you made it back home. That's where you're originally from, right?
Yes, sir. I was born and raised South Side Chicago. Very grateful to have spent some years playing football over at KU. My brother ended up going to KU and playing baseball after me. So, that's KU.
I did really.
Lawrence kind of became the home away from home for us. Obviously a huge Jayhawk family now, but Chicago is where the roots are. So, I'm glad to be kind of sticking around where my family and all my childhood friends and everything like that is at. So it's been good.
Nice, nice. So your dad played football too. I was reading. I think I was reading in your bio. Is that right, or is he?
So my dad played baseball. He played for an NAIA school in Chicago named Saint Xavier.
Okay.
And he don't let the NAIA kind of connotation fool you. They were one of the top teams in the country back in the 1980s. Played in the College World Series. My dad was the starting center fielder. So we've been we big time sports family for a long time now. He was actually the head coach of my high school for baseball for over 20 years growing up, and they named the field after Mike Zunica Field now. So
Dang.
you know, yeah, no, it's exciting. So I'll brag on him for a little. It's good stuff.
Absolutely. That is
Yeah,
awesome. So, I appreciate you taking the time and, kind of reaching out because I think everyone's story is important just in regards to financial literacy. So, definitely appreciate you, like I said, taking the time to do this today.
yeah, absolutely. No, I appreciate you having me. And this is I haven't really gotten too many opportunities like this before. Been in the financial services industry for like 4 years now. It's starting to feel like I have some pretty valuable information that I can share. With the younger guys who are kind of going through it right now. And obviously, I like what you're doing. Is what do you wish you knew when you were in their shoes? Because I think that's a very kind of undervisited topic. With all the resources that student athletes are given, this doesn't seem to be one that people focus on too much. So kudos to
That's
you
crazy.
for putting this together. It's really really awesome stuff.
Absolutely, man. Well, thank you
Yeah.
very much. So, I guess we'll just kind of dive into it and then, as, time permits, we can, you know, kind of go off on tangents if need be. But
Yeah.
hey guys, what's going on? My name is Pat Brown. I'm a financial advisor in Lawrence, Kansas with Edmonds Duncan. Been here for many years, played football at the University of Kansas, played outside linebacker, and started there for 3 years and enjoyed my time immensely and got to meet a lot of great people, which led me down this path of financial literacy for student athletes. I started a series of interviews with former student athletes with the hopes that current student athletes can learn from some of the successes and failures to hopefully make better decisions and kind of learn those habits, right off the bat. And so, um, a lot of these interviews, I kind of liken um, the habits for financial literacy very similar to being a student athlete, meaning as a student athlete, which I'm sure you can attest to, we learn things over repetition. Whether it's football, baseball, basketball, what have you, we learn as much as we possibly can to make it muscle memory. So again, if we can get these current student athletes to kind of learn these muscle memories and just kind of get exposed to just some of this financial literacy, I think that will be beneficial. So having said all that, I want to introduce my man, and you prefer Mike, right?
I go by Mike. Yeah. Everybody at KU call me Zuni, but professional name is Mike.
I like it, Zuni. I like it. So
Yeah.
Mike Zunica. So Mike played here at KU after me, way after me, but you came in 2012, is that right?
Yes, sir.
So 2012, left here. 2016 was All Big 12 honorable mention, All Big 12 second team. In 2015, All Big 12 mention, honorable mention, and then academic Big 12 second team. When I read down your bio, I mean, it was obvious that, education meant a lot to you. And I think it's great that you strive to, be successful off the football field as well. So I definitely commend you for that. But Mike, welcome. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. I'm been very excited for a couple weeks now. I'm glad we finally matched up some dates here. I know we were going back and forth a little bit, so super excited to be on with you.
Absolutely. So we'll just, like I said, dive into it. First, I just want to read the definition of financial literacy because I always think it's important. I think a lot of student athletes have this connotation that financial literacy means that they're not the brightest or smartest. That's not the case. Um, Financial literacy is essentially the possession of a set of skills and knowledge that allows an individual to make informed and effective decisions with all their financial resources. So, heading back to your freshman year, sophomore year, I guess kind of tell me, were you ever exposed to any of these things as far as budgeting, credit, or anything of that nature?
I definitely wasn't really exposed to credit. Opened up kind of a little debit banking account in Lawrence once I got to school, and it was kind of just what I put in there was what I had available to spend. Never really knew, that I could spend beyond my means, depending on my credit worthiness. Didn't learn that until later in college. But budgeting and saving were, I was raised in a household, where, our parents weren't just giving us allowance every week or anything like that. It was essential things. And then you kind of had to get your own money for your birthday or for Christmas or sell something.
Right.
And then you had a little bit of money in your pocket. So, I was pretty aware of, what it took to save up to buy the things that you wanted. I would say the first time I really just, started becoming aware of the big financial decisions that, we have to make in life was when I was looking at schools.
Mm,
I was a walk on at Kansas, and I was out of state tuition. So I was very aware that it was gonna be costing my family. My parents were amazing. Planning to pay for college for me, but I started to become aware. This is $35,000 plus a year when you count room and board and tuition and expenses and everything. And I think that was the first time where I wanted to, my parents supported me going to school wherever I wanted to be, but I also had, I was aware of what kind of commitment they were making to help put me through college. And I think that was the first time I kind of realized, how important it is to have, money in the bank and start saving early to pay for these big later in life expenses like sending your kids to college. So, wasn't really taught about those things too much rather than, more than just the real life experiences that I had, I guess.
yeah, you bring up a good point. I meant to mention that earlier when I was reading off your bio. So, with you being a walk on, for those that are watching or those that don't understand, that's incredibly hard to walk onto a program to get playing time while you're managing paying for school. I mean, that's again, I take my hat off, to people that are able to walk on and do that. And so your plight is going to be a little bit different than obviously a scholarship student because you have all this
Definitely.
that you have to deal with. And so I guess I would think that that would might benefit you because of the fact that you had to immediately learn and understand here are some of the ramifications if I don't do X, Y, Z, whereas someone else thinking, okay, I'm scholarship, I can do whatever.
Absolutely. I will throw in that I did earn a scholarship after one season. So I think I'm a unique case study here where I got the walk
Yeah,
on life for a year or two, and then, the scholarship check and tuition started getting paid for and everything like that. So
yeah.
a lot of learning going on in 4 years there. Yeah.
No, I think that's awesome. I think that's great. And, to anybody that can, like I said, I can walk on and then earn a scholarship, I take my hat off because it's not an easy road to go down. So now we hit, your sophomore year, on out. So you're getting a stipend and so forth. Um, because of your experiences, were you able to kind of manage that a little bit better than I guess most? Because when I was in school, we got a stipend, spent it that same day almost, and then essentially
Yeah.
you don't have any money. Were
Yeah.
you able to kind of manage that a little bit better then?
Absolutely. That's why I said I'm a unique case study because here I am having to ask mom and dad for some money, every couple of weeks, and who knows what they were giving me back then. And then, next thing I know, they're not paying any checks for school anymore. I'm not asking for the credit card to, take Ubers or buy groceries or buy beer or whatever we were buying. Like,
Yeah.
so I think that it just, it wasn't like the stipend check was burning a hole in my pocket. It was like, I was able to kind of take the burden off of my parents, but continue to stack a little paper in my pockets too. So it was, I definitely think that that's one of I know one of the questions you sent me is about pitfalls of guys that I saw, like you said, getting the stipend check in every month and a couple pairs of shoes and a car payment, and it's gone in a couple of days, So I think that me kind of having to be a little bit more frugal, kind of saving my parents' money helped me out a lot with, budgeting and just, being a little bit smarter, more responsible with my cash. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So as you look back, what were some of your worst financial decisions, and what were some of your best, if you had any, that you can think of? I know we all have some bad ones.
Yeah, the bad ones are what I just talked about. Getting the stipend check, going straight over to the Legends Mall in Kansas City, and putting that money to work. So I guess those are the bad ones. I guess it's just buying. We're young. We were young too, so I don't regret spending my money to have fun when I didn't really have anything to save for at the time.
Yeah.
So that's it's kind of can see both sides of the coin there. Those were the worst decisions, was just spending it on useless stuff, but also gave me joy and fun and enjoyment in the time being. So I don't regret it. I'd say maybe the best decision I made was as soon as I got a scholarship check, I took a loan out on a car, and just immediately started putting $300 to $400 a month into my car, to where I know I had a lot of teammates who were leasing cars and not really getting the value. That's what I talked about. Shoes and lease payments on cars was I think those are two things that kind of just bad decisions that we were too naive to realize we were making. But I think my dad helped me get set up, trade in my old car that I had for a couple grand, and started paying off a brand new car, which I actually recently just paid off this last year. So it took me about 5 or 6 years. But just speaking of, the equity that I kind of started earning in a hard, hard asset like that, something that would, help me out for a long time. So.
Plus the credit. You build up that credit history, and then, like you said, you go and trade it in, and now you look back and you got a great, favorable credit history moving forward. So I'm sure you would have done, great getting that new financing. So that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, absolutely. As soon as I got out of college, credit score was right where I needed to be to pretty much, to borrow anything I needed to borrow. So yeah, it got me off on a good start there for sure.
So kind of going back to the credit, I think as I look back on my personal journey, and it's always been taboo to talk about credit cards, and you should open up a credit card in college. And as I've gotten older, I wish I would have understood credit a lot better, because I did get a credit card, but I didn't understand it. It's kind of like playing with fire. And so my message has always been, if you understand it, understand the basics, and understand how they work, it could be beneficial. And I'm not talking about opening up a huge line of credit, which you probably can't based off income, but something that will show a history, throughout college. So whether it's freshman, sophomore, et cetera. And then once you get out, like you said, if you have, a nice little credit history, then it works out a lot better for you, whether it's buying a car, whether it's getting a place, leasing a place, et cetera. So that,
Sure.
that's great. Looking back on college now, what do you wish you had done different in regards to dealing with your money, if anything?
Like I said, not too many regrets in that space. Some of it was spent on funny money, purely enjoyment, kind of at the time type of things. I had spent a little money on a car, so I had set a little bit of aside for some good investments. Just as I was looking through the questions, I just started to realize, I'm in a spot in my life, I'm about 27 years old. I've been saving in my 401k for about 5 years now. I'm really starting to see, so some numbers that I like seeing, and really starting to feel like I'm building some nice wealth. And something that me and my dad have just always talked about is that rule of 72, the power of compound interest. Why it makes sense to start earlier. And then you look at the kind of epidemic in our country and around the world of people who are 40 and 50 years old who don't have nearly enough saved for retirement. And they're just starting now. You can't imagine those people are going to retire comfortably at an age of 60 to 65 years old. So I think that's one of the things I just try to preach to people who are younger than me, and even people who are older than me who haven't started saving for retirement yet, is you got to get started early, so that the power of 72, the doubles, can have the most impact on your retirement account as they can. So as I was thinking through the question, I just started thinking, what if I got a $1,200 to $1,500 stipend check once a month from Kansas, and I just took $100 out of that each month and kind of started an IRA. And 4 years, 48 months, it's almost $5,000 if you're only doing $100 out of each check. $5,000 as a 20-year-old, you're going to have a lot of a lot more time for those assets to earn compound interest on top of each other. And like we said, the most powerful tool you can have in building long-term wealth is the ability to take your time horizon out a little bit. So I think that just starting early, I think that could be something kind of interesting that you can almost implement into the student financial literacy programs at colleges. Helping people start a savings account or start an IRA account, because if you have the account there, it's one less obstacle to getting the money into the path of least resistance. If you don't have the account set up, these guys are never going to start saving money or putting it away for retirement. So kind of a long-winded answer, but I think the power of 72 is just so powerful. If you can even start 4 years early, or even putting in $50 a month, it's going to make a big difference. 40 years from now. So I know you knew that, being in wealth management, but it's powerful stuff.
But no, it's good to hear. It's good to hear other people talk about it. I think it's not talked about enough. You talk about $50 a month. Some of these linemen and D linemen, they eat that in food, in one sitting.
Yeah, right.
So if you're talking about put that away in an IRA or Roth IRA, then now you can let that money build. So no, that's good to hear.
Yeah,
that's good to hear. So how have the habits you formed in college affected life after college? Which I know we're kind of beating a dead horse, but I mean they've obviously done well for you. Some of the habits that you formed.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've talked about a few of the spending habits. Started to put together a little bit of a budget. I was got the scholarship checks coming in at KU, but I was also working at a bar on the weekends over on Mass Street, a place called Tonic. Rest in peace to Tonic. It's not there anymore, unfortunately. But I think that really helped me to diversify my kind of income stream and really understand that I don't need to have all my eggs in one basket, and that the more diversified you are, the less the chances of something that can take you out, because you need more things to kind of go wrong. So kind of budgeting, diversifying my income stream, and saving. I think those have all really helped me in the last 4 or 5 years since leaving college. I've don't put myself in a position where a couple of adverse events or something tragic could really knock me out of the game. So I think I've built a strong foundation. Now I have my eyes set on some lofty goals for myself, just wealth creation and financial freedom, and putting my family in financial freedom. So I think I got the foundation going here, but what I've realized is this: there's always something else you can learn. When it comes to managing your finances or getting in the market or saving or budgeting, and there's always going to be events that come up that you're not prepared for. So you just gotta build a fortress around your wealth and diversify as much as you can. And I think that I just, one thing I wish I would have done more in college is reading. Even the few years out of college, I wasn't reading enough. I've really picked it up these last couple of years, and it's given me so much more knowledge, so much more insight into what it takes to be successful and reach that financial freedom. I'm going to give a quick shout out. This is my #1 book right here. It's called The Psychology of Money. I read it this year. Just came out this last year. A guy named Morgan Housel, and I'll send you a copy of it, Patrick. But just want to throw it out there as a recommendation. It's one of the best books I've ever read, because it's especially in a time like today where so many young people are getting into investing and getting on Reddit, reading, message board investing, and kind of taking financial advice from anonymous accounts online. I think it's more important now than ever to read a book about Warren Buffett. Read a book about financial literacy. You don't need to get on a message board. I think the internet creates a lot more problems than solutions a lot of times, especially with young people. So I think just getting out there, finding some books that you like, and don't be afraid to stop reading a book if you don't like it. But get your nose in the book and in the books, and you'll learn more than you ever thought was possible by just sitting down and picking through some books. So I think that's #1 for me.
I appreciate you saying that. I hadn't thought about that, and I hadn't thought about bringing that up. Just reading. I mean, as simple as that sounds, just reading, information, whether it's investing, whether it's real estate, whatever it may be, just, still exercising your mind. So I'm glad you brought that up. I may have to implement that a little more just in these questions in general, just, some of the favorite books that people read. So, yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up.
Yeah,
Um,
no problem. Absolutely.
so what are some of the, again, this is probably beating a dead horse, but what are some of
What's
the
that?
pitfalls hope your story could prevent for young student athletes out there now? So, or, the young Mikes who are just starting out, what would you tell them?
Like I said, putting away some money for the future, no matter how small it is. You don't realize until you start reading about, Albert Einstein said the rule of 72 is the eighth wonder of the world. You just got to keep pounding away that the earlier you start, the earlier you retire. And that's, it's not an easy thought to have for people, especially an 18-year-old in college who, you know, we all had probably pretty sizable egos playing on the football team in college. You can't let that get in the way of just trying to set yourself up for success down the road. So, I mean, I'd say the pitfalls that I would like to help guys avoid is coming out of college with $0 in your bank account and feeling really, really pressured to start getting some income coming in, rather than, maybe saved up a few $1,000s, throughout your years at KU, and you provide yourself a little bit more comfort and a little bit more of a cushion, to find the right job or the right industry for you, rather than thinking, man, I need to start finding some money. I got bills to pay, I got car payment to pay. You know what I mean? So, it's not easy to think of saving and investing, as a college kid. And I definitely wasn't, fully thinking of that myself. But, as I've gotten out into the real world and, started paying, bills and taxes and, this, that, and the other, all that stuff, I think the pitfalls would just be, you don't have to spend the money just because you have it.
Mhm.
Educate yourself about retiring. Even if you don't start saving for retirement until after college, at least educate yourself so that you're ready and that you have a game plan. I think just putting together a game plan, even if putting together a slight budget for what you're going to do with your $1,500 stipend every month, it might not pay huge dividends while you're in college, but what it does is it starts teaching you good habits, and you start to
Yep.
understand the mechanisms of how you can save money, where you can save money, how much return you can get by investing your money. So I think that it's not always about the immediate impact of when you're in college and what's happening with your money, but more so setting yourself up to be financially somewhat free in your 20s, and kind of continue to work towards that end goal of total financial freedom by somewhere around 55 or 60 years old. So
Absolutely. Preaching for you.
yes, sir.
I like Um, so we're kind of coming to the end here. I have these bonus questions as far as, the next level, the NFL. Did you have any
Yeah.
aspirations of trying to go to the NFL, or anything ever happen with that, or?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was in the boat where I was getting graded pretty highly by some scouts for the fullback position, which, to my dismay, doesn't really exist like it did. Maybe when Tim Grunhard was playing for the Chiefs, I probably could have maybe fit in a little bit more with those guys back then. But gave it my all. Trained with some guys from Northwestern up here in Chicago. Gave it everything I had for about 8 months. Worked out for a couple teams. Got to work out in front of the Chicago Bears, my hometown team. So, didn't get picked up by anybody, but was a great experience nonetheless. Met some guys who are playing in the league now, signing kind of that second round of contracts, really successful. So, living vicariously through them a little bit, but I didn't really have a problem giving it up. I thought at the end
Yeah.
of the day, as long as I gave it my all, I didn't really want to be one of those guys who chased it for 2 or 3 years. I was like, I gave it everything I had, didn't get that initial shot. Let's get this career started, because I was ready to start making some money, and trying to be efficient with my time in my early 20s. So kind of gave that up, got my career started in the financial industry, and here I'm about 4.5 years later, feeling confident, feeling like I've made some pretty good moves in my career, and moving up the ladder a little bit. So
Okay.
it's all fed into my experience and made me who I am. I wouldn't trade
Yeah.
football for anything, and I'm so happy that I went and tried to make it to the NFL. And look, I have some buddies who are still playing in the NFL, quite a few now. So it's been fun to watch them. And it's also kind of interesting to keep an eye on how they're managing finances. Not that it's really any of my business, but it's I think that the NFL can maybe be doing a better job of teaching financial literacy as well. We see guys that play in the league for 20 years and still end up going broke. We got to help people out more than that, I feel like. So
Yeah, that's no, I hear you. Like I said, definitely a passion of mine. So well, I guess we're towards the end, and if you could just kind of talk about what you're doing now. I know we touched on it at the beginning. You got into the financial services industry, so yeah, go ahead and what you're doing, your firm, your company, and we can kind of end
yeah,
there.
no, absolutely. For compliance reasons, I'm not representing my company at all. But I work for a company called DWS Asset Management. I'm a wealth management consultant, so Patrick, we could talk off the line if you want to discuss a few more things like that. But like I said, I'm in the industry of helping others achieve financial freedom, and I'm working with successful wealth managers like yourself, and our end goal is the same. It's to help clients set themselves up to retire at whatever age they want to retire at, or reach whatever goals that they're trying to reach, and really help them do that in a responsible, risk managed way. So I've learned more than I could ever imagine these last 4 years, just being around the market, giving consultative advice on where we think is a responsible investment to make. And I like the variability of it. As different client walks in the door, they got different goals, they have different amount of assets to work with. And then it's kind of let's set up a game plan for this individual. So I've really enjoyed working on the wealth management side of things, and right now I could definitely say that I think I'm committing to a nice future in this industry. So I'm really enjoying it and learning so much, drinking from the fire hose, as they call it. Seems like that fire hose the fire hose never turns off. So I like how it keeps you on your toes. It's kind of something new every day. So really enjoying it.
Awesome. Well, cool, man. Like I said, appreciate the time. Are you going to get back for a game at all this year, or we got a new coach?
I know. I'm excited. I saw that, Coach Leopold. I was, I'll tell you what. I think I'm up there with the top KU football fans out there. I mean, I'm on Bleacher Report every single day, reading everything, watching the guys in spring ball. I'm excited to see who they'll pick at quarterback this year. Seems they got some good running backs, a couple young DBs in the mix with a couple of good D linemen. So, I'm excited to see who this new coach brings in on his staff. It's been a pretty volatile couple of years here now since I left. So, Jayhawk forever though. There's not. I don't think there's anything that program could do to lose this fan. So, I'll definitely be there for a game or two.
Well,
yes, sir.
man,
we'll have to link up. Yeah, we'll grab a beer in the touchdown club or something.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, I
Yes,
appreciate
sir.
your time, and I'll let you get going. But let's definitely stay in contact.
Yeah, absolutely, Patrick. Hey, I really appreciate it, man. I was looking forward to this for a while, so I'm glad we got to do it.
Absolutely. Good deal.
All right.
Well, man, you take care.
All right, man.
Stay in touch.
Sounds good, brother. I'll talk to you later. Thank you.